Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video where I'm taking this, the MP9, this thing which actually I wasn't getting until I got a package from Tap Airsoft, and I was like, I kind of need to get this to build out what I'm doing. That video is still to come, but I thought actually I really like it. It's a KWA, it's an MP9, I think you call it a KMP9, and I just want to make this thing look really cool and do a test video of it. So today's video is going to be kind of the start of my build of this. I don't think I've got it right completely, but I have recently bought a 3D printer. And so I thought that this was probably a good idea just to show you guys what I can do in terms of building this out just with this 3D printer that I've just bought, because I've printed a couple of parts and we'll put them on there, but I would love to get your guys' thoughts on it. And so I'm going to kind of take it from this KWA KMP9 as it's out of the box. You can see there it had a orange painted end to it, so I've had to kind of like scratch that off. I still haven't done the interior of it completely, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it look hopefully a lot cooler and a lot more functional. I would say like this thing it's really just very ergonomic. Like in the hand when you're holding it, this stock for me is perfect length. It's like great, and it just feels really good. It's kind of like, I'd say I prefer the feel of it to an MP7 quite a bit. I like my MP7 a lot, but this thing just feels a lot better weighted to me, and I'm excited to do it. So we'll start off with what I'm actually going to use in terms of a red dot on this. Now, I may print a riser for it, but I have this, which is the Spec Precision EOTech, and I really like this thing. Like I tried it out when I unboxed it. I did a comparison video, if you haven't seen that, where I compared it to my real EOTech and kind of like how similar it was in some ways, how different it was in others. It's about $100. I have this, actually a code for this, about $85. So if you guys are interested in buying one, there is a link down below. You can get this for $85. But I think for the price, if you're not wanting to buy a real optic and go like fully into it, then this is actually a really, really good option. But I'm actually going to run it on the MP9. I think it looks really good on it. I love an EOTech generally. Location-wise, I'll probably go with about there. Let me just figure out what that's looking like there. I think that's perfect. Normally, I do put a riser on my replicas, so I'd put a riser above that just to kind of put it up higher. But actually, where the MP9 sits, just in my shoulder here, I may put a tiny one in there, but for now, I'm going to keep it like that. And I think it just makes it look very cool and compact. I'd love to know what you guys think, but you can see here the reticle. If I try and trying to line these up, I hate it. I'll show it to you. You see it there? I end up pointing it on my head as I do it. The glare from the actual screen is not going to help me here, but you can kind of see, you can't see it at all. So I can see it with my eye very clearly. You know what I should do is fold this stock, and that would probably make it a lot easier for me to do that. And as I've said that, it's not going to make it easier at all. There it is. There it is. So I've got the reticle right there. This just feels very cool in the hand. I mean, like the EOTech's going to add some weight, but to be honest, the weight is above where my grip is and where the magazine is. So almost like it's just a very easy thing to hold one-handed, because all the weight is like in that central mass area. There is no real weight on the front. The stock is such a, hold on. Sorry, another interruption. That wasn't my kid this time. This was actually someone at the door. So yeah, so EOTech, I think that's going to be great. I will actually put an EOTech, or sorry, a lens guard on here because I don't want to smash that. But other than that, I think that looks pretty cool. And I could leave it like that. To be honest, when I bought the MP9, I was thinking I kind of want the one with the built-in foregrip on it. But I couldn't find that. They're impossible to find. You also couldn't find any mags anywhere. This is quite a cheap replica. It's like $320 for what it is I think is really cool. And like the rate of fire on this thing, I'll give you a quick demonstration of it. Like it's really, really fast. Like I really, really like it. But I did manage to find a load more mags. Evike seemed to come into have some stock that came in, and so I've got some of those. So now I can actually play with it on the HPA tap adapter, but also on this as well now. The stock clicking in as well, I really like. The Scorpion's kind of cool how it flops over the top. the MP7, how it kind of comes in the back, but I actually just really like that. It kind of keeps out the way. You could really technically use this as a foregrip if you wanted to. But I generally will always put a foregrip on it, and because my idea is to probably use this as a, let me just turn this reticle off, probably to use this as an indoor CQB gun, I want to be able to put a tracer on it. Now I could buy a tracer, but the problem that you have with this is not a 14mm counterclockwise. As you can see, it's a pretty massive barrel. You've got your inner barrel in there that's your normal size, but this thing has got these 3 lugs on it, and it's really hard to find anything that is not a proprietary specialized tracer for the MP9 to go on there. Hence, the amazing thing that I have, which is a 3D printer. Now, 3D printers are great. Like, I'm now obsessed with it. I'm printing like non-stop. In fact, I don't have one going right now, but I've pretty much just been printing non-stop things with my 3D printer. Like you can see here, Saiga 12 SBS rail, Saiga 12K rail, playing between this and a real metal one that I've got on there, because the weight on this is so much lighter. Future video, if you want to watch it, subscribe. But the awesome thing is that I don't have to then like buy something, order it, ship it, pay a ton of money for shipping. Then also like, okay, where, you know, is it going to fit? What does it look like in real life? I can print stuff on my printer, which is super cheap. I think I bought a file for this, which is about $3, and then just printed it. The cost of the print of this whole suppressor was like $4 maybe. So for $7, you know, it's obviously not going to work on real steel, but for $7, I'm getting a replica that effectively, or a suppressor that effectively will work on my airsoft replica. And like the quality is really good. Like it's not going to be much different from what you're buying. You're not going to get it in metal. That's one thing to mention. But other than that, like it's going to be the same. So this is a specifically designed one that someone made for an MP9. And basically you can see here the gaps right there. So the lugs just slip on. I can rotate and that stays in place. Now this doesn't lock in. So that's something that I was like, okay, well that is probably, you know, something I might need to, you wouldn't get on one if you're paying, you know, $20, $30 for it. But they also printed 2 separate parts. So there's the front of the suppressor here and the main body of the suppressor. And this can take an Ace Tech tracer unit in it. So effectively, like I've managed to get this one replica, this one 3D print file, and create this, which I'll show you in a second. Like when I screw this on, it secures this in place, which is great. I mean, it's not ideal where I'd like it if it locked in and like locked properly. But when I've got this on here, it means that it won't actually move, which is awesome. So that's there, and that is like, it means it won't move once that's in there. And then I have this, which basically does not screw in, but it's a super tight fit, and that's gonna go on the end. So that's taken my MP9 in its very small compact configuration. You can get a lot bigger suppressors for this, but I kind of love the size of this and the style of it. I could run it without it. If I just want to put a tracer in here, I can just put this suppressor on and it's still very, very short. Like it's a very, very maneuverable little replica. And this is going to be so much fun playing indoors with. So I'm very, very excited to do that. And finally, the last thing that actually I thought about getting, and I'm not sure about this. So I think this is probably, in terms of the build, definitely going to be what we're doing so far. I'm probably going to paint this, and we're going to do that another video on that. But the one thing that I would really like here, and I don't think it's 100% necessary, because I think you can grip this quite nicely. Like it's got this weird angled rail on it, but I think you can grip it quite well without. But what I do quite want to do is have something better to grip there. I've thought about potentially putting on a little PEC unit, or maybe one of those flashlights, the Vitatu ones, so I can just have that there with a laser and a flashlight, and I might do that. But I don't want to make this too front heavy, and I love how this is very light, this is very light, all my weight's like in the center here. I just really, really love how it feels. So I'm going to leave that for now, I think. Only other thing I might print is a sling adapter, like a QD sling adapter, so I may do that. But the 2 things that actually I have printed for this, which I did a little short on one, and everyone was like, that is probably the worst thing I've ever seen. The first one is this. Now, this is huge. And when I saw it online to print it, I didn't pay for the print file. When I saw it online, I was like, oh, okay, that's a funky looking foregrip, but it was like, oh, it's a very ergonomic foregrip. And if you've seen the actual normal MP9 foregrip, it's kind of like a, not an odd shape, but it's a very like bulbous kind of thing to grab onto at the bottom here. So I was like, you know what, this would be quite cool. But I did not realize when it was printing that it would be this size. I will actually also do another video, which is just going to be an amalgamation of like 3D print airsoft things I've done, the time-lapse sped up one, and I'll just like talk over why I printed something and what I printed it for, because I thought that would be quite a cool idea. So if you think that's cool and you want me to do that, put it in the comments. But I was like, oh, you know what, this would be quite cool. It's a bit different. I don't have to worry about the mag insert. You know, like sometimes if you've got like an MP5 or the MPX, I've got to worry like, okay, the mag's going to come out of here. Am I going to get in the way of a front foregrip, or is that going to be fine? With this, you've got the actual mag going into the pistol grip. So I didn't have to worry about that. But I put it on here and I have to say, it's so ugly. I mean, again, you guys can make your own decision. You can tell me what you think yourself. But that's what it looks like on here. And the really annoying thing is that this is so comfortable. I mean, it's like a very odd, massive shape. But when I actually put it in my hand, it just really is one of those things that is probably the worst looking thing in the world, but it also is secretly one of the best feeling things. I mean, I have the option to grab it down below, grab it above. My finger kind of rests here and here on it. And so it just feels like a really good little point and shoot when I have it in my hand. However, I don't think I can walk around with that attached to my replica. I just think it looks like a horse foot or something. That's like the closest that I can, maybe an elephant foot. But like the description of it on the actual like site where I downloaded it from was like ergonomic design. And I have to say, like it really is. It's very lightweight. You know, it looks like it wouldn't be that good to grab. And my hands are quite big. So maybe again, that's kind of like where that is. But like, it just feels like grabbing like a handle to a bike or something. So I don't know. I'll show you guys what that looks like as I just have, and you guys can tell me what I should do in the final build. But this was my original thing. And when I saw it and I did the like YouTube short on it and everyone laughed at it, I was like, I have to do something a bit different. The other thing which like annoyed me on this one is it's a Picatinny rail and it's not super wide, but it is fairly wide. And what's really annoying is this little click in here for the stock. It won't actually like click in. It'll sit flush, but really like if I do that, that's going to annoy me so much. So I can't actually go with that. So what I decided to do was print another one, and I printed a lot more kind of stock standard, like angled foregrip. And again, like I like this. I think it's definitely looks a lot better when it's on there. I mean, you'll probably agree. I don't think many people would disagree with that. It is very comfortable, but it's not as comfortable. I have to say, like having this thing as opposed to this thing, this is a lot more comfy than this is. This has amazing textured feel on it. If you guys want the files for this as well, write it in the comments and I'll put them down below. And like, this is a lot more compact. It's like, I love the stippling like feel on this. But it's not as comfortable as that one. And the issue that I have still is that this is still not closing. And it's the width of this compared with that. Now, what I was just thinking before I shot the video is, you know what? The great thing about having this 3D printed is that I could just get my file and I could basically just file down this section of it. Because it's here, this bit right here that is stopping it from coming in. And if I just cut a line right there, then it should be fine and it should kind of like sit right in there. And you know what? If I mess it up or it doesn't look good or it doesn't work properly, then I can just print another one. This takes about 40 minutes to print. You know, it probably costs this one about like $3 or $4 to do, if that. So it's again another massive advantage of a 3D printer is that from right now having that one 3D printer and one like filament like roll here there, one spool of filament, I basically can create this. I can do 4 or 5 other variations of this. Before I would spend a lot of money like, hey, picture of this looks a bit funky. But you know what? It might be cool. I might like it. Turns up a week later and it's this size, and I would have just thrown it in the bin, or I would have just put it in my cupboard and thought, I don't know where I'm going to use that, but I'll find something eventually. This now means that I can be like, you know what, I don't quite like that. I'll do another one. Oh, I'll keep that to one side, or I'll throw it out, or I'll give it to a friend. And so I have to say 3D printer, this has turned into more of a video about 3D printing. 3D printer is a really great addition to my airsoft life right now. And I think probably, you guys may agree, but I think probably that's what the build's going to look like going forward. If you guys know of another rail that's going to work, sorry, another foregrip that's going to work with this, or you think it's going to look better, please do let me know below. The other idea I had, which I've done on some of mine before, is to get rid of the width of this Picatinny foregrip. Is I could actually put a Picatinny to M-Lock adapter rail in here, which I've done on my Mark 18, and then I'll run a little M-Lock, very slim, thin, more like this style. Where's the other one that I had? I've printed another one as well where I'm like, okay, that's the one. I don't know where I put it. Here. There's a little micro one there that I've printed for another replica. So I could just instead have that right there, and that shouldn't get in the way then of having the stock close. But right now, guys, I've basically 3D printed, done a suppressor, put that on there. I've got my Spec Precision EOTech that I've now got on there as well, which they've sent me to review, so that's great. I've got this foregrip on here, which I may change. I don't think I'm going to go back to this one unless you guys really tell me, you know what, it doesn't matter what other people think, just use it. And then in which case I may well do that, just silently, you know, try and hide it from everyone when I'm at the field. And I've got some more mags for this. I'm also going to do the hybrid conversion. So the tap version there where it's got the lower, I'll do that as well. And then I'll run the same kind of like grips on there and just kind of do a comparison video for you, what it's like performance-wise with standard gas blowback, and then what it's like with the tap HPA hybrid adapter on there too. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to know your thoughts on the build, and I'll be back tomorrow with another very good video. Goodbye.